Hey, everybody, welcome to another San Antonio Tech Dad podcast. My name's Alan Bush.
I'm Drew Cox.
And I'm Corey Dockendorf.
Hey, we're a bunch of dads that live in San Antonio. We do technology things during the day, and every week or so we get together and talk about raising families in this technological world. So we're back again. We skipped a week last week due to laryngitis, World Series, and other unfortunate incidents. But
Congratulations, by the way.
Yes.
yes. The Kansas City Royals, my favorite team, they actually won a World Series for the first time in 30 years. So very, very excited about that. Very excited to share that with my son, who is 5 years old. I was 5 years old the last time that the Royals won. So it's kind of a neat little experience there for us. So he's excited too. So thanks, guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It
Yeah, I look
is.
forward. I look forward to sharing many a future Spurs victory with my son.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, cool. Well, hey, so welcome back. It's good to get the gang together again. There were a couple of things that we kind of missed out on chatting about, but we got plenty to talk about this week. I guess the one of the big news events that happened recently would, of course, be Halloween, right? Happened on Saturday.
Yes, it
Did you guys
did.
have a good Halloween?
We did. My family made it about 5 blocks from our house before the rain came down, and were able to circle back to a friend's house and crashed in her living room for 45 minutes, too long enough to have our kids outspend their welcome on all of that extra sugar. And we were lucky enough to get chauffeured back home in the rain, but that was a premature ending to what was shaping up to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the rain was pretty brutal. I went out probably about I took the kids out about 6 o'clock. We had a theme. We were DC. So my ex-wife was there, and then I had my mother-in-law there, and I had the kids there. We had it all dressed up. So I was Superman. Girlfriend was Wonder Woman. Ex-wife and her boyfriend were Batman and Robin. My daughter was Catwoman. My niece was Supergirl, and then there was my son, who was Spider-Man. But I am okay with this because the fact that he's two and was like picked a comic character and nothing random, it worked. It worked. Everybody thought it was great. We kept getting stopped and people kept taking our pictures. And I was like, we have to go. The rain's coming. They're like, no, no, no. One more picture. I'm like, okay, great. One more picture. Just keep going. We had a lot of fun though. It was good. Like I said, we left about 6 o'clock. Hit a couple houses. We did a whole block. By that time it was like almost 7:30 when we were done. Kids were already exhausted. They had enough candy. Went home, and as soon as we got home, rain poured down.
How
Really
did you
just
how did you pull off what you just said? Had enough candy.
had it. Oh,
How did you
so
achieve that particular level of child satisfaction with the amount of sugar intake they've had?
this is the first year that my 2-year-old actually got to trick or treat, like to legitimately run to the house, knock on the door. And the first house, he's like, what are we doing? What's happening? And then he saw his sister do it, my 9-year-old, and she ran up there and her and my niece, and they're like, this is how you do this. And he's like, oh, okay. And for some reason, this man opens the door. Everybody says trick or treat, and they just handed my son candy, and his eyes lit up, and he's like, wait, this is a thing? So every house, like for once he figured out that's what was going on, every house, boom, 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 was like, yes, and he's just happy Halloween. Just had a great time. I think he was more excited than my other kids. Like she was like trying to keep up with the 2-year-old, and he's all like, let's go, candy. Um, the correct level is when their arms are tired, you have too much candy. If they start handing you the bag to Dad, hold this. I can't do this anymore. My arms are so tired right now. Like, yeah, yeah. So we're done. If you don't want to carry it anymore, I don't want to carry it. That's enough candy. So about halfway through the bags, we got the kids were done. They were like, "Oh, my arms are so tired. I'm ready to go home now." And they were just exhausted from all the walking around. And I was like, "We're done. Quick, go while we have the approval, because the minute they see some cool house, they're gonna want to go to that one and get candy." So it was a success.
All right, so law of diminishing returns is a lesson you taught on the way back home.
Totally applies.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well, good stuff. Well, we didn't get very far at all. So we were kind of in this because it was on a Saturday, right? So there was no school going on beforehand. There was nothing else. So it was an entire day worth of anticipation. And and in the meantime, the clouds are just coming in at the same time. And Julie, my wife, she had the opportunity to go to the Stevie Wonder concert, which was that night as well. And so she took that opportunity as she should.
Yes,
And,
yes.
he played for like 4 hours apparently, and just knocked it out.
He's
Um,
got enough catalog he could play
right,
for days.
right, right. Um, and then he did. So anyway, so like there's like this whole like three different fronts coming in. Like Julie has to leave, and there's rain coming, and then there's kids that are getting antsy, and so we finally go, and we're they're watching out the door trying to see whenever everybody else starts trick or treating. So okay, all right, I see one kid out there. All right, let's go. So we get him out, we go, and uh, we had Yoda. Our 2-year-old was Yoda, and then Marshall, the 5-year-old, he originally wanted to be a Ghostbuster, and then we well, we tried to do the zombie walk, but had an illness, couldn't go. So, but he got really zombie crazy. So he's like, I'm going to be a zombie Ghostbuster, as you do. So he went as a zombie Ghostbuster, and so we went around and made it out of our cul-de-sac into the next cul-de-sac, and then decided to head back, and we passed out candy from our driveway at that point, and then maybe 20 minutes of that before the rain came and washed us out. So it was pretty good stuff. But yeah, I think we definitely ended up with enough candy, and we bought enough candy to pass out. So the sum was there was enough left over, so it worked out pretty well.
That's always the problem, right? Like you get the candy, then you end up only having so many trick-or-treaters, and you like overbuy. So the kids come home with candy, and then you also have all this leftover candy. So you just have candy coming out of everywhere at that point. So and you do the famous, what are you gonna do with all this candy? You take it to work.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah,
we
absolutely.
got
So
candy.
take it to work. And one thing that our work is doing, which I really appreciate, is there's a group that collects candy for our troops that are overseas, and they don't have easy access to the candy, and that's apparently one of the things they miss quite a bit. So we've got these giant tubs where we're collecting bags and bags and bags of candy. So there's plenty of surplus out there. So
Yep.
if you have an opportunity to do that, do it.
Yes. Yes.
Only the dentists lose.
That's right. And do
But
they
do they?
really? Do they? That's awesome.
Well, great. Yeah. So it sounds like Halloween was a pretty decent success for everybody, and nobody got too rained out on it. So
No, Saturday is a great day for Halloween. I can
Yeah.
go for more weekend Halloweens.
Yes. Yes. Please, not the middle of the week. Hate when that happens.
well, but absolutely. Well, great. So hey, there's another little bit of a interesting thing in San Antonio. Drew, you probably want to talk about this a little bit. We saw an announcement from the mayor that made it look like we were getting an MLS team, but it looks like we moved a little bit closer to possibly maybe getting one down the road.
Yeah, I think there's been a major hurdle cleared, but the way it was messaged from the mayor's office made it seem like it was a done deal. So today, Mayor Taylor announced that there's been a deal agreed to by a triumvirate of the county, the city, and Spurs Sports and Entertainment to take over ownership of Toyota Field, which is where the Scorpions play. And this year I've had like a 5-game pass to the Scorpions, and I'm always been a big soccer fan, played soccer growing up, and have enjoyed the Spurs. I've enjoyed the Spurs, sure. I've also enjoyed the Scorpions, and got to go to quite a few games. And live soccer is something that I enjoy about as much as televised soccer, and it's good to have a team here in town. We actually won the championship last year and had a lot less success this year as an organization, but the hope was always that we could get the support for the Scorpions to a point, and business partnership with Gordon Hartman, the guy who is kind of the champion of the Scorpions, to get them into the top flight, the Major League Soccer here in the, I guess, North America, since there are some Canadian teams. But The way the announcement looked, it sounded like the big three of the political parties and the Spurs were going to land us a MLS team kind of out of nowhere, out of the blue. And I'd known that this contract was being worked on, but it sounded like there was a lot more going on behind the scenes than what was really going on. And the way it was messaged got me very excited, but on very little additional research, it became pretty obvious what had happened. And so the situation is that a well-backed and organized professional sports organization, Spurs Sports Entertainment, has a USL contract, and that means that they can deploy and develop a United Soccer League, I think is what USL stands for, team, and I think they've got a 10-year window to exercise that, and they're somewhere in the middle of that 10 years, and they are going to very likely launch a team and house them at Toyota Field with the hope of promoting that team into the MLS. Now, the MLS has 24 teams currently approved, not 24 teams playing, but there are 24 locations that are going to have MLS teams according to the MLS. And San Antonio is not one of those.
But they were finalists, right? I mean, we were finalists.
We're in the discussion.
Right?
Yeah. So there are a few cities. I think St. Louis, Sacramento, Las Vegas, San Antonio. I mean, there's a list of cities that are in the running for that. I don't think Las Vegas is a very high possibility.
No.
They've been trying to get NBA in Vegas for a long time, but I think the aversion of pro sports in the States to gambling, at least publicly, is going to keep that from happening.
Hey, I'm from Vegas, so that's always a big thing, is the inside betting that's going to happen, and it's going to happen. You just have to accept it. So they've been trying to get sports teams forever, and they've tried, and it's always failed, or they just don't have the outcropping.
Well, it's interesting. Like basketball has been being publicly for sports betting a lot more than the other leagues. Baseball has some really long-standing divisions and scars from betting. The Black Sox are that famous story from Field of Dreams, and you've got Pete Rose, who, despite being one of the most epic baseball players of all time, got mixed up in gambling and ruined his legacy. So I don't think baseball is ever going to move to Vegas for any reason, for any amount of money. But, I mean, the NFL is so tightly linked with gambling. In reality, it's insane, but they're not really verbalizing that connection very clearly. They kind of want to distance themselves. They want to have their cake and eat it too, and I don't see that working out very well. Soccer in general gets a ton of action, but it's not really in the MLS sphere to the same degree that it is the major leagues in Europe and so on. So I could see a team getting in Vegas. I imagine it's going to be the NBA before it's anybody else, but they're on the list for the MLS is more likely than not cities. I think they're probably pretty low on the list at this point, but Sacramento and San Antonio seem to be the two big teams vying for future spots. The MLS has said they'll probably continue to expand. We'll see how that goes. There's always going to be talk, since the USL is basically a feeder program, kind of a AAA to Major League Baseball's major leagues. USL is kind of a AAA to the MLS, and so there will be tighter bonds between the organization that the Spurs launch and the MLS than there is currently with the Scorpions, who are NASL.
Yeah, what did you say?
So the NASL, the USL, and the MLS are the three soccer leagues in the United States. The USL is basically in a farm system type relationship, or developing a farm system type relationship with the MLS. That's relatively recent. And NASL they're attempting to compete with the MLS. So the weird position that San Antonio finds themselves in is we have an NASL team with an NASL owner and a venue that's no longer owned by them, it's owned by the city, and an organization that has rights to a USL organization.
Right. So I mean, is this effectively running them out of town because the USL seems like the better bet at this time?
I would be more likely to bet on Peter Holt and his organization than I would on Gordon Hartman and his organization. Gordon Hartman has done some incredible things with Morgan's Wonderland and has built some pretty great spaces, but he hasn't really built an incredible sports organization where it's undeniable that the Spurs have a fantastic sports organization. So
yeah, they're okay.
I'd put my money for operating that type of an organization impeccably on SSE instead of on Morgan's Wonderland, Gordon Hartman, etc.
Is there room for a merger, or not necessarily a merger, but a joint partnership?
It's going to be a really interesting stretch here. I don't know what we'll learn when, but it would be really interesting to see how this all plays out. We already have branding and a team and an organization and all of this stuff, so I don't know if we get like Alamo City FC and we have the Scorpions sticking around, or if there's some sort of a blend. In other The Plot Thickens news, the Austin Aztecs don't have a place to play next season, and so they were going to have to take a season off, and they're in the USL. So there could be a chance for that team to move into the space that the city of San Antonio now owns, and I don't know what the branding around that would be, or if that's something that the Spurs could get in with, or maybe both teams could have home field here in San Antonio. Who knows? But there's a lot still to be uncovered, and hopefully we continue making progress from here. But that's a pretty major milestone to have cleared, that a stadium meant to expand is currently backed by some relatively well-off groups of people that have the direct intent of building an MLS franchise there. And I was not too excited about rehiring Ivy Taylor as our mayor, because when she took over for Castro, I didn't feel like she was really doing much. She kind of lame ducked her the rest of her time. But since she's been elected in and seems to have the backing of the city, she's really stepped up and done a lot of things that have been progressive for the city. And I would love to see a continued sustained effort that direction. I don't know what we'll see, but I've been much happier with her mayoralship since she was elected proper instead of taking over for Mr. Castro.
Well, what she's done since she was elected, and how she campaigned and how she was the interim mayor are completely different, in a good way. I mean, she's a city planner. I mean, that's her education background. So I mean, it's a great fit for San Antonio in this time where they really need to have that plan. So it's good stuff. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, happy to see that progress.
Absolutely. Well, hey, let's kind of shift gears here a little bit. Corey, you've got a little bit of a book review for us.
Yeah. So a friend of mine on Facebook was chatting with me, and they were asking about a book that I've had for a very long time now. So it's called Geek Dad, right? Like how appropriate. So it's actually written by how apropos. It's actually written by Ken Denmead, and Ken Denmead, I love this guy. He actually writes. He's the editor of a Geek Dad, which is a blog on Wired, and it's always full of board games and things to do with your kids of any age, events that are going on, but also very tech oriented. So it's a very cool blog. I subscribe to it. I follow him on Twitter, and really nice guy. But the stuff that he does, like he's like, we'll do this, and he wrote this book, and it's like a do-it-yourself book, so that feeds the geek father like it's just it fills that void of doing something, and then your kids also get to experience this awesome thing that you either built or did together. It's got things in there how to build like the ultimate slip inside, right? Make a lamp out of Legos and CDs. My daughter and I we did a customized comic strip and printed like coloring book pages, and like she colored them and built them and all this other stuff. And but it's like it's a book for a rainy day. It's a book that it's very well laid out, pictures, diagrams, step-by-step instructions. It also focuses on how to get kids involved and what to have them do and what you should do and like how to build these things together, really. So, like I said, it's a rainy day book. It's one of those things that you go and your kid goes, I'm bored. Because they can't find anything to do, and hopefully their room's clean and all the other stuff, and you can't make them go do anything crazy. Just go clean your room. You want to be bored. But then they're like, hey, I want to go do something, or and it's pouring out rain, or you don't want to drive anywhere, and you can get a bunch of household items and come up with something pretty freaking cool. They have one of last year we did Christmas trees with LEDs, so we built Lego Christmas trees hooked up to LEDs with the little back panel that lit up, so like it was flashing LEDs on a Lego Christmas tree. I was like, this is freaking awesome. My daughter loved it. We did one day she was, and it's simple stuff too. Things that I was like, okay, you think that you have to have a bunch of, it has like an inventory, and it has different levels, so it's like, level of complexity 5. Or level of complexity 3. And one of the ones that we did was toilet paper roll flowers, which came out really well. So my daughter and I are sitting there, and I was like, I got toilet paper rolls, we can do this. And we cut them all up, and we made these awesome flowers that I still have that just last forever and looked really great. And she had a blast doing it. And it was very simple. It cost nothing. It was just household stuff. It's fun. And it kind of inspires the kids to want to learn and want to like get into the tech stuff and try different things. There's stuff in here that's like programming language as well that you can go in there and find. It recommends apps and things that you can go and do. But there's a lot of stuff. Build a binary calendar. That was fun because you have to explain binary to a 9-year-old. But it's interesting. It's fun, especially if you're really into geek and technology, and obviously if you listen to that podcast, you're probably one of those people. I highly recommend this book. It's a lot of fun. He's got a whole series of them, and it's just fun things to do. It's just fun things to just pick up and go, get your kids involved, get them out in front of the TV and make them do something. Especially, I'm not a very creative person, so I'm not the person to come up with these really cool, crafty Pinterest type things. So to have a book to reference is wonderful, and I'm a step-by-step driven guy. So I'm like, hey, do this. A plus B equals C, and then my daughter was all into it, and I'm hoping to do more with my son here. So that's exciting. But yeah, it's a great book. I highly recommend it. Check it out. Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's $15. You can't go wrong.
Well, it's $15, and it looks like there's a couple of follow-ups as well. Yep, so there's Guide to Weekends and then
Mad Scientist. So that's the next investment. Is my daughter has already told me that she wants the Mad Scientist book because she always wants to do everything for science. So we're gonna get that. That's gonna be her birthday present coming up, and nice. We're gonna start knocking some of those things out and get all crazy. But yeah, great book, great series. Ken Denmead is a great guy. You can follow him on Twitter. I think he's actually at Geek Dad, but it's awesome. I can't recommend it enough. Check it out. Yeah, it's at Geek Dad, and that's him. So
you don't happen to know how it renders to Kindle if I were to get the ebook, do you?
I don't know.
Is there a lot of diagrams and stuff? Is it just
there are, but you could probably do it. I'm sorry, I take that back. It's Geek Dads with an S. GeekDads is him. But yeah, on Kindle it should be fine. It honestly, yeah. I mean, like, we're gonna do this like that. I mean, it's basically text, but every now and then there's a picture. There's like, wee.
Okay, so those are for kicks. There's not like
there's nothing that you have to have in there. You could probably follow the whole book on the Kindle without issue.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
To play devil's advocate, though, I would say that the benefit of having the physical, book in your hands is that the kids can go grab it off the shelves, find something that they want to do, as opposed to stealing
Your Kindle.
stealing your Kindle from you.
I'm
And
trying to
And
read.
also the other side of that is I have it on my phone, my computer, my Kindle,
yeah,
someone
Yeah.
else's
exactly.
phone, someone else's computer, someone else's Kindle.
Yeah.
I can solve different problems with the ebook.
That's true.
Very true.
But Alan's right. Like my daughter can go pick up this book anytime and be like, Dad, let's try this. And I'm like, all right, let's try this. Let's see how this goes.
12 paper flowers it is.
Is it right? And I'm like, let's see how it works out. And everything that I've done so far in the book, I've been pleasantly pleased with.
What's your favorite thing that you've done off of that book?
I have to say the flowers, which is ridiculous, right? Like, because you don't think there was a point. I had somebody come over to the house the other day, and they saw the flowers, and they looked like those are beautiful. I was like, they're totally toilet paper rolls. They're like, really? I was like, yeah.
And
So,
then what's next? What's the next one that you want to do?
so
That you haven't had to-
the next project, I actually have it marked in here. We were gonna do cyborg jack-o'-lanterns, but we didn't have enough time for that one. But we're gonna do wind-up toy finger painting, and I'm hoping to get my son in on this one. And you basically take wind-up toys, and and it's very simple. You put paint on the bottom of them, and it's very easy to go. And then you just put them on the paper and let them go, and then kind of come up with these artistic, crazy pictures that you can hang up in the kids' room. And I don't know if you've seen those toys, the Hex Bugs.
Yeah.
They're a bit like the little tiny things that you just wind up and just let them go and whatever. And I think those would be great for a project like this, and they're very inexpensive. So I'm thinking I'm going to grab a bunch of those, and then have my daughter and my son just sit down, get some paint on these things, and go. Yeah, right? And then just hang all their artwork all over the place and be like, they made this with whatever creature. And they all the Hex Bugs do different things, so I think we'll get a lot of different patterns. It's things that you don't think of. Nobody thinks of stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's the next project we're gonna do.
I like it. Cool. Well, I'm definitely going to check that book out and get into some of those projects.
Awesome.
Great. Well, hey, I think the last thing I wanted to chat about today was Minecraft. Finally got into Minecraft with my 5-year-old, and we're loving it. It's interesting. We got the Pocket Edition, right? So it's on a tablet. A little easier to take with us or whatever, and it's got a battery that will eventually die, so we can turn it off and when we need to. But I know it's been fun so far. We've just been playing in the creative mode, so just this vast. I mean, I'm actually surprised at how big it is. We got lost this evening when we were playing, just how vast this thing is. But we were able to find our way back and figure out where we're trying to go. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying it. Corey, I know you've played with your daughter. Drew, have you played at all yet?
I have a very distinct feeling that it's in my near future, but I have not crossed that plane yet.
Oh, it's coming. Just be ready to accept it when it happens. So my 9-year-old and I play it, and we have it on. I have it on all platforms. I have it on PC. I have it on all my Apple products. I have it on Xbox. I have it on everything. We originally got it on Xbox, because I wanted something that my daughter and I could play together. Here's a controller. Let's knock this thing out. And we do the same thing. We play in creative mode, which I think is fantastic because the kids can just roam. They don't have to worry about dying or like being attacked by zombies or whatever. They can just play the game and build stuff and become a bunch of creative things. My daughter's really into it. She has to have it on any of the Apple products because she loves to just. It's just a game, like you said. She can sit there and play it and just knock it out on the phone and build something cool and just show everybody the world. But as Alan knows, you can get sucked into this very, very quickly. And I had to take a step back because I love this game. I play it just for me. But one night my daughter and I were playing and we were building this awesome castle thing. It was a lot of fun. And because everybody builds a castle when you do this game, you just make an awesome castle. That's what happens. And but we were talking about building. There's an achievement you can achieve if you can go 500 meters on a train track. So you build a little cart and you put it at like the top of a hill, and then you drop it, and then it goes through, and there's these little tracks that make you go farther. 500 meters in this game is far. So it was bedtime. My daughter's like, I'm going to go to sleep now. I was like, all right, good night, love you very much. I was up for hours, and I built this elaborate roller coaster. Didn't know what was going. I looked up at my watch. It was like 3 in the morning. I was like, I gotta stop. My kids go to bed at 8. I'm like, okay. So I finally finished it, built the whole thing. She wakes up the next morning before she goes to school. I'm like, wait. I built a roller coaster. I was like, we have to do this. So I turned it on. She gets her character. She gets in the little bucket, and she rides this massive 500-meter roller coaster. And she gets the achievement. And she thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And I was like the proud dad. I was like, I built that roller coaster. It's mine. It's cool. Take that, Disney. Yeah. Universal Studios. You got nothing on me. Hire me. But oh man, it was just that huge satisfaction of like, and then I felt bad because I was like, I guess we should have done that together, but there's the whole, you don't want to like take control. You want them to just kind of be free and be creative, and you don't want to have to be like, no, don't do that. That's not what you, just let them go. Just let them run and play, and then when they go to sleep, do all the crazy stuff and build all the things in the evening. So
That's a good strategy. I mean,
So play Legos with computers.
yes,
that's really what it is.
Yes.
It's Legos, and I'm really enjoying the creative side of things. With it's on super easy level, so like there's a flying mod enabled, which makes it a lot easier to find your way back when you get lost.
right.
And you can also hover above and see what you're building. So that's great to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's tough because hey, I want to build a castle here. Well, okay, well we probably should really build a foundation. Let me help you just mark out the corners. Okay, I'll mark out the corners and fill in the line, and then you can build up the rest of the walls. Okay, well I'll probably also put in these, so it's you can really get sucked into that. Yeah, it's absolutely something that's easy to do. So I'm looking forward to more and more time building cool things with the kids. So
Awesome.
I'm excited about
Yeah,
it.
it's coming, Drew. Just be ready. Just get your creative juices flowing and
So-
start building castles.
I'm certain that it is coming soon.
Yep.
I have a feeling that as soon as my son is in kindergarten, he will be banging down the door to make that happen.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely one of the things that's happening right now. Also, I do improv comedy and comedy sports, and some of the other kids of the performers are there sometimes. And one of them recently brought in a Minecraft stop motion video set, and it was this really cool idea. I mean, it's this box, and the box opens up, and it's the background, and it's got this grid that's all laid out of where everything is, and it's got a little place where you can put your phone on it, and it comes with an application that puts the little ghost image of the last picture that you took, so you can sit there and you can make these little stop animation videos. So he saw that and just fell in love with that and wanted to make videos and make anything with Minecraft. So really excited about maybe making some of that down the road too. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, one quick last thing, and before we wrap this up here, I think that speaking of Minecraft and other gaming, Corey, you've got a big event coming up this weekend that you're
Yeah,
participating in.
yeah. So this weekend is November 7th. Saturday is game day for Extra Life, which is benefiting Children's Miracle Network. This is a huge event that they do every year. They've been doing it. I think this is the 6th year that they're doing it. I've done it every year so far. You guys can find me at Mythic Griffin on there and help donate, and all the money goes to the charities. It all goes to the Children's Miracle Network, which is great because it's basically 24 hours of gaming. And I wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, and I log in, and I basically for the next 24 hours play. And they're actually hosting it at Rackspace this year in San Antonio. There's going to be a big event for the Rackard Gamers, which is the local gaming community out here. And it's exciting. It's huge. The event's tons of fun. If you want to get like-minded gamers together, sit down. It's just a really big LAN party, which is awesome. It's fun because it's an excuse to play video games all day, and you're helping kids. So it's totally worth all your investment, and then sharing on social media and just getting the word out there. And it raises so much money every year. And this year and last year, my kids have been involved. So like they come with me and we sit down and we play. We do board games. We play video. We'll play Minecraft. We'll do stuff. So it's not just me sitting there for 24 hours playing. Like I actually involve them and bring them in, and we'll play like Game of Life, or we'll play I don't know, Zombie Dice or something, and things that they can get involved in, which is a lot of fun. and they go to bed, and then I'm still gaming for 24 hours, so I'm still playing nonstop. So good night, everybody, and then I get on my PC and play for the rest of the evening until 9 o'clock the following morning. Um, it's a stretch. It's fun. Streamers do it. It's one of their Twitch.tv powers a lot of it. So there's a lot of famous streamers on there that will stream the 24 hours. And the end, I always watch towards the end when everybody's exhausted, because then it just gets ridiculously hilarious. People are just there on their last leg. They're just trying to power through, and then the commentary becomes gold. It's a wonderful organization. Like I said, they've been doing it for about 6 years now. You can sign up. Like I said, if you're not doing it this year, you can always sign up next year. Get ready, start bringing in those donations and start helping out Extra Life. And you can do it at the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. It's for whatever hospital wherever you live at. So it's not just San Antonio. It's whatever state that you're in. You can choose a hospital or whatever your nearest hospital is, Children's Miracle Network Hospital, and raise money for them. And the money goes directly towards them. So it's fantastic. Wonderful experience. Love it every year. Sign up for it. You guys can go to the website. The website is www.extra-life.org. And check it out. Learn a little bit about it. Watch the video. Cry. and it's a wonderful thing. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a really great cause, and I've read up a little bit on the origin of it, and it's you might get a little dust in your eye.
You're gonna get teary-eyed. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's a great cause. So really appreciate you taking care of that and doing that. I think I might just have to bring up the older kid and see if we can hang out and maybe catch a game or two of Zombie Dice, which is one of our favorites.
Zombie Dice. Yes, we'll play some Minecraft. We can do these things.
Yeah.
Have you been introduced to any new games that you either really want to get back into or have adopted into your regular rotation through?
So I'm a big World of Warcraft player, so that's like my go-to game. But they have this brand new game called Overwatch that's just out and in beta, and I'm waiting for my invite, and I was like, come on, 2 more days and the event's gonna happen. Let me get my invite, because if I get into that game, I'm playing that the entire time. I'm very excited for it. But unfortunately, the other game that I wanted to play doesn't come out till after the event, and I was like, oh, if I would have had it just like a few days early, that's what it should have been. Star Wars Battlefront, which this is a glorious game. I played the beta a couple weeks back, and I was addicted to it. So I'm like, no, can't do it a couple days early, guys. Come on, EA, please. So
bonus for a good cause. Come on.
It is, and my thing is like, I'll just get the game. I'll have it for next time. The next 24-hour Game-a-thon, I'll just have it there. But yeah, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and I think everybody should check it out. And it's a great thing for kids too. It's because you're like, hey, you want to play video? You want to raise money? Go for it. And it gives them something. They're doing something for a good cause, and they get to play video games and board games and everything else. So that's great.
Wonderful. All right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up on that note there. And yeah, this has been another great fun time here. We should do this again. Maybe not next week. Maybe the week after that, though.
Week after, we'll do week after. I'm good with week after.
Yeah, we can do this on a fairly regular basis. I think that got a little bit of work travel that might get in the way coming up next week. But hey, we'll make this happen pretty regularly. We'll put it out as a audio podcast and keep these videos going as well. And yeah, hit us up on Twitter. Or in the comments here on YouTube, and you can subscribe to our video and join up and get all these videos sent out to you whenever they happen. So, on that note, we'll say goodbye and see everybody next time.
Indeed. See you guys later.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Later on.